the All right, back on track now. The 1812 overture is about
Russia's victory over the French.
Yes, yes, because the French, people don't realize this, but the French actually didn't invade during the winter. Oh, they invaded during the winter. No, they didn't. They invaded during June. And, well, things didn't work out too well. They got to Moscow and, well, to put it bluntly, the Tsar shit-canned the place. But he did. So everything was on fire, and they really didn't work out well there. So Tchaikovsky later on wrote this magnificent piece with cannons and bells and people singing in low voices, and that's what we call the Overture of 1812. So that's an example of nationalism. Then we go over to Giuseppe Verdi, who's from Italy. And at this time, looking at Italy and Germany, they're going through their processes of unification. So Italy is in 1861 when Victor Emmanuel from northern Italy declares himself as the king of Italy. And then eventually they have to go through some unification wars and be not nasty to the Pope because they were separatists. And eventually they have a united Italy. So then Giuseppe Verdi, which if you look at the name Verdi, it begins with a V-E-R, which stands for the initials of the Italian king, Victor Emmanuel, and they were against the Austro-Hungarians at this point, but that's a story for a rainy day like Matthew would say. Now at this time, Giuseppe Verdi, unlike most composers, he was rich, he was popular, and everyone liked him. That wasn't common among composers. And he wrote a number of things like Rigolo, I don't know how to pronounce it, La Traviata, things like that, but he was also commissioned, importantly, by the leader of Egypt. I don't know what his title would be considered, but he was writing it for the Suez Canal opening, which is kind of a big deal. And this opera was called Aida, which was later reinterpreted by Sir Elton John. Now, going on to Wagner, he too wrote things that would be construed as nationalistic, as we would see from the years of 1933 to 1945. Now also, looking at Wagner, he wrote about things that were nationalistic, but more specifically things like what?
Anti-Semitism?
Well, indirectly. Now, he had this one thing called the Ring Cycle, which was a combination of 4 operas that was about the Nibelungen. Maybe they considered that anti-Semitic. But you are correct. Richard Wagner was anti-Semitic. And lots. What's that?
It's The Ride of the Valkyries.
The Ride of the Valkyries is not about. Oh, that's right.
It was part of a ring cycle. I learned about it in class last week.
Yes. All right. Very good. Now, but talking about Richard Wagner, if we look at different themes that he was talking about, he's talking about myths, Germanic myths, things about Wotan, king of the Nibelungen, things like that. You know, stuff that you read about for pleasure. Incest. Are you going to take over, Monique? All right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm
All right,
sorry.
well,
Dr.
I won't
Tyler.
hold you up anymore, so we understand that the main 19th century, late 19th century Romantic composers is pretty much about nationalism. So we looked from Tchaikovsky to Wagner to Verdi, and we see this theme run throughout. So thanks for your attention. Sorry to hold you up. I know we all have families to get to pretty soon, but good night and good luck.